HomeTech Podcast for Friday, November 19th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Powell, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from cold Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And from warm Sarasota, Florida,
I hate you.
Yeah, we had a little bit of snow this week. Definitely not warm here.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's supposed to get cold tonight, like in the 50s or something. So it'll be a nice morning.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. We had snow Sunday or Monday, and then we had snow again today. And it didn't really stick. I mean, it wasn't around for long, but it was snowing pretty heavy both days. So winter is here.
Winter is here. Yeah, I just did
you ever hear that? Snow?
Just did a Google search for snow. And,
it's that white stuff. I've never seen it.
Not in our forecast here, according to Google. So, yeah, no, it's supposed to have a nice couple of nice cool days towards the end of the week here. So yeah, 50 degrees is the low. It looks like.
Still hate you.
Yeah, I think it's like 35 right now. So.
Oh, wait, I can put this in Celsius, so Gavin will understand. It will be 10 degrees as our low.
Oh, that's beautiful weather.
Yeah, 10 is the low, and then tomorrow the high is 21.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
it's like that. It's like that all weekend, basically, until Monday when it gets to 24 and then 20.
I won't experience that for another 6 months, probably. So
this is my favorite time of year. You know, everybody's getting ready for the holidays. We have Thanksgiving next week. There's going to be a lot of family get-togethers. Everybody eating turkey. Not too long after we have Christmas. It's starting to get really cold. So, of course, everybody wants outdoor work done. You know, outdoor cameras, landscape audio, outdoor TVs, whatever you can think of outside. Everybody wants it done right now. So, perfect time of year.
It's always, yeah, you're right. It's always a busy time. And everybody's like, oh, I got to spend all this money for tax reasons or whatever. All the rich people, they have reasons to spend. They have their bonuses, their yearly bonuses they want to spend into. So, yeah.
Spend that money.
I guess. Quick update. You can hear my voice there. I did not win the Powerball on last week. Sorry. So you guys, I'm not buying everybody a CDA ticket, unfortunately.
You gave us all blue checks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I tried to make a little bit of money over the weekend by adding blue checks and official verified checks to our Slack chat, the hub, and absolutely what you expect would have happened. Just complete and utter chaos. Elon Musk showed up. Tim Cook showed up. Who else was in there?
Charlie Kindle. Donald Trump was in there. A lot of people were in there.
And we're all verified too, so I'm gonna assume it was them. Like, I just lots of shenanigans over the weekend because of this this feature I decided to add in. That was not a good idea in hindsight. Could have gone better. At least I didn't have to lay anyone off, right? Like, because so we're just not hardcore enough there in the hub to worry about layoffs. So.
Yeah, I think Greg was concerned in the chat. He was like, Seth is going to have to start laying off co-host. But, to be honest, we don't get paid anyway. So I don't think layoffs really affect us. If I got laid off from this, I don't think I would get government assistance or like anything. So
it's just more time you would have.
My benefits.
Don't have to dedicate 4 hours a week for it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to all the Twitter employees heading into the holidays. It doesn't sound like the company's going to be around very much longer. But maybe it is. Who knows? It was a weird company to begin with and just keeps getting stranger every single day. It seems like there's something new that happens over there.
Billionaires will do anything to not pay their taxes. And if it takes writing off $44 billion, I guess that's what it takes,
He's lost substantially more than that, like probably close to the neighborhood of $100 billion.
He's sold a lot of stock as well. So.
Sold a lot of stock and tanked his other company, which his stock is now worth less. So that's probably one of the worst business decisions ever made in the history of mankind. But there you go. He owns Twitter, and good luck, I guess.
Not as bad as FTX going down, though. Somehow
crypto's a bad thing. Is that what you're saying?
Well, supposedly that Sam, what is it, Bankfried or whatever his name is, went from being worth $16 billion down to being worth less than $1 billion. So supposedly that's like the biggest wipeout of financial wealth
Fake money?
in history.
Oh, yeah. Wealth.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeez.
So everybody's just losing money this holiday season. Layoffs are going on. People are buying companies they shouldn't have. Companies are going under. Why not lose some money? So it's a good thing you didn't win the Powerball, to be honest. You probably lost it all.
I just lost it all. Yeah, I would have been like, hey, I want to buy a company that's probably not worth this much and pay more than I should for
buy
it.
Control 4.
Yeah, well, yeah, I could buy Control 4, Snappy V. I don't know. I think shenanigans would have been the best way to spend that money because you can't take it with you. So yeah,
just YOLO it all.
Yeah, YOLO, exactly.
Take it to Vegas.
Put it all on red. All right. Well, we got quite a bit to talk about, and we got some two major things. We had the Home Assistant event this last week. The State of the Open Home 2022, which is going to lead us also into our conversation about the state of Gavin's home in 2022 because he's gone crazy. So we had a little preview of that last week, but stay tuned for that. That's going to be up after all the fun and news stuff we're going to talk about. So what do you say we get started with that and head into the HomeTech headlines?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, I didn't write anything for this story, but Hoobs now has a Hoobs Pro for what, $400, $500?
Because why not?
That's literally what I wrote. I wrote why. I don't know. I would love for someone to explain this to me. So Hoobs is a ecosystem built on the reverse engineered free open source product. What was it called?
Homebridge.
I don't even know. Homebridge. Yeah. I run that, but I don't even know what it's called. And Hoobs basically made an interface that goes nicely over the top of it and has kind of curated some integrations. But now they have a Hoobs Pro box that they're announcing for sale that you can pre-order now. $500. Or $399 for pre-order, $500 for normal price. I don't get it. What's the use for this? Anybody?
I think they just came up with the idea to do their own hub and do the processing in the hub. And then from there, they send the devices out to the Amazon, the Google, and the Series or the HomeKit ecosystem. It's expensive. That's my only thing is like, it's got everything except Z-Wave. But, for that price, why not have Z-Wave too? Like, I don't know what's going on.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like the Homey Pro is appealing, not because of its price. It's just as expensive as this. I think the MSRP might even be the same as well. But at least it literally comes with everything. Yep. This comes with a decent amount. It comes with Zigbee, it comes with Matter, Bluetooth, all that good stuff, but it leaves out Z-Wave. And, at this point, if you're paying $500 for a hub, the MSRP for it, it should be able to connect to anything that you have. And maybe, you brought up a good point before the show, Gavin, and maybe you can add it with a USB stick or something. But I feel like for the price, it should just include everything, right? But I also feel the same way. If I spend $1,200 on a phone, I feel like it should come with a headphone jack. So maybe I guess I'm just old school.
I don't get it. I mean, they're talking about how fast this is. Like, it's fast. I run mine on a computer, right? Like, or a Docker that runs on it's got better specs than this. I mean, I guess not everybody has that and they're running on a Raspberry Pi, but I think this runs on a Raspberry Pi too. So I don't know. It looks like it's just part of the Raspberry Pi. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, essentially, like you're going to be adding all your devices to this device, right? And originally it was like you do that and then it adds it to HomeKit, right? And that was the purpose of Homebridge, was adding non-HomeKit devices to HomeKit, right? So now it's like you add all the devices to this. Now, why not make this the hub? So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the hub, the brains, and just export everything, right?
This is a bridge into the actual hub. The hub is the HomeKit process. At least as far as I know what Hoobs is doing.
Well, no, this is replacing that because, Hoobs is basically, a product that nobody cares about at this point. It's not the end point. But now they're coming out with the end point. They want to be where you go to do everything. And
the logic will be calculated there.
So, I mean, I'm not hating on it completely. The interface doesn't look completely awful. We'll have to see how programming actually looks. And I'm kind of, I'm happy to see competition in this space because there's not a lot of good competition, right? I mean, when you think of a hub at this point, you think of Habitat or Home Assistant or Smart Things, and all three of those, have their downfalls which I think are pretty big. So the more that we come out with third-party hubs like this, the more competition there'll be and everything will get better.
But are we, the scary part is are we ready for $500 hubs? Like nowadays I buy $100 hub. It's like, great. I feel comfortable buying that. I can use it for a year or two. If I don't like it, I can move on. $500 hubs is like a serious, like it's not a temporary thing. I really have to invest in that hub now. I'm going to be with that for a while. And I find a lot of these hubs now are coming out in that price range. And it's just, I feel it's getting more expensive.
As long as it comes with the support in the long run and you get, extended years. I don't know what the number is at this point, but I think I would be comfortable in the 5-year range of support and updates. But I think if you're paying that much, you should be able to get those updates for that long and not have to worry about it. But I think outside of that, paying $500 for a hub isn't out of the ordinary in the professional space. In the consumer space, it's completely out of ordinary.
I mean, yeah, $500 is nothing in the pro space. Right. You're probably looking closer to $1,000 for just an entry level hub at this point.
So as long as you're coming out with similar support, I don't see it as far fetched. I think a lot of consumers will turn their nose up to it because they don't have to do that. They can go out and buy smart things or run Home Assistant on a $50 computer. But for somebody that just wants it to work and they want someone to call when something doesn't work, I think it's a no-brainer. I would do it.
I still don't get it. I mean, so like, it's a hub there. There we go.
Yay.
Hub run. But it's just bridging. So Hoobs is basically a plug. It's basically a plug-in on top of the other company's hubs. So like whether you're
all the hubs are kind of like that now, right? Like you look at Habitat, all the logic and everything is done on their hub, and then you export the devices from there into all the other ecosystems, right? So then that your devices show up in the Amazon ladies list of devices, and you can do stuff in there if you want, right? Essentially, that's all the hubs are doing the same thing. This is just doing the same thing. It's going to be the brains. It's just going to export the devices to the other ecosystems for more for just voice control, if anything.
But it's not the brains. That's my point. Like Hoobs is not specifically not the brains. It's not doing any logic gating. It's basically taking an incompatible device with, say, like HomeKit. That's what I use it for. Or I use the other thing, HomeBridge, for. An incompatible device, like, I don't know, like Ring devices. They're not compatible, so you can bring them into HomeBridge, and then automatically all the stuff gets shoved into your HomeKit installation.
Yeah.
So it's just a bridge. It's not, I'm taking my hub bell back.
No, they added the logic. That's the thing.
Yeah, this is a standalone hub now.
Yeah. Like HomeBridge is the bridge. Hoobs now added the front end, and they started adding all the logic and the engines and stuff like that, so you can have your devices doing things now.
I'm not finding. Oh wait, here's interface. Set up global dash. So they have their own dashboard now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Not apparent on the front page of their website at all.
Now you got to scroll down a bit.
Yeah. Well, I didn't recognize it because it's like this dark thing. But okay, so there's a dashboard that looks the same as the dashboard I get for, the HomeBridge one that I have. Like I have the same dashboard. I mean, it's not the same, but it's the same. If you get what I'm saying, like
similar. Yeah.
I just don't get it.
It's just
I really
hub.
don't.
It's just a hub.
But it's not a hub.
It is a hub.
It's a bridge into smarter things. And
it's a hub. It's literally a hub now.
So is my HomeBridge a hub?
Well, no, that's a bridge, but this Hoobs
Pro has the same thing that this does, same feature.
No, it does not. Your Hoobs, your HomeBridge thing does not connect to Matter and Zigbee and everything else. It's just the software layer that transports it from one automation to the other. This is where everything is going to connect to. So you're going to connect your Zigbee devices to this. You're going to connect your Matter devices to this.
Your bridge is not a hub.
Right.
This is not a hub. This is a bridge.
It's a hub. It's literally a hub.
They're
making an endpoint for it now. So instead of you tying it into another home automation platform, they are the home automation platform.
But they aren't. That's what I'm saying.
They are. No. They are.
All right. I'm gonna put a link inside. our chat here. I'll put it in the show notes too, because this is I we got an argument about this, but like this is like their overview of what they're doing. They're doing local control from the Hoobs thing. The Hoobs box does local control to devices that are incompatible with all the fancy stuff that we like, right? Apple, Amazon, or Google. And they're just putting a bridge in between that they're running on a quote hub, and that hub is translating the stuff that's incompatible back to the services that we like to use. It's not a hub. I take it back. I'm taking my bell back. I'm just going to insert like a bell playing backwards.
But it says hub settings, so I mean, it must be a hub.
I think a hub has to have, by definition, a hub needs to have like logic built into it. Like it needs to be able to do like just an if-then system. And you can't do that with this. This is just taking devices that like the Ring doorbell or...
Keep scrolling down. You'll see it. Multi-condition automation paths can be created using an intuitive drag and drop interface, which can link to any physical or virtual accessories.
You're going to have to link me that because I can't find it.
You got to keep scrolling down.
Where?
And you'll see it has the logic. It looks like a Node Red type of thing. Yeah, if you scroll down past the...
What does this end?
Down. Yeah, it's a never-ending page.
Never-ending page.
When you hit the bottom, scroll up.
I'm in their documentation, right? I'm reading the manual, and I search for logic, and it doesn't. It says your search didn't return anything. Gives me a frowny face. I'm not convinced, Gavin.
That's because they have a special name for it.
Here, I'll post the image in our.
This is probably Hoobs Canada, not
well,
the US.
That's where they're based in America.
Yeah,
so.
you guys don't get the flows.
We don't get it.
But they do have logic. It's looking like a Node Red type of thing.
It's planned for Q1 2024.
Oh, so it's not a hub yet.
Well, it's not even out yet, though. It's only a pre-order, and it literally says you might not get this for several months.
It's got to get its degree, and then it can become a hub. So now is it a hub, Seth?
I still want to see it in their documentation, but I don't see it. I don't understand. I don't understand what they're doing here. Like, to me, this is not a hub. But if it has the multi-condition automation, and you can take like a Ring device and say, okay, when this device gets motion triggered or something, turn on a Wemo switch. Okay, fine. That's a hub at that point. I don't know if you're
going to be adding Moods automation, which is machine learning open data smart home automation. That's planned for Q1 of 2024.
And neural processing unit. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Automate. It suggests.
I kind of hub as anything that connects to anything. So I'm just basic like that.
I think it deserves the bell. It's a hub.
It's a hub.
Oh, you guys are killing me here. No. I already rang it, so I'm not ringing it again in Q1 2024. I can tell you that.
Listen, we got 3 hosts here.
That's right.
That way we can 2-1. The vote. We have
we're all going to vote. All in favor.
It's a hub. We win.
These are Robert's rules of order, though. That's funny. But I will agree, if it has this logic thing in it, and it has a neural processing unit that suggests and optimizes automation.
It uses
paths
machine learning. It must be a hub.
with machine. I think this is going to be a mining crypto at your house.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. All right. We'll have to stay tuned. If anybody knows about the Hoobs hub, that is an actual hub and not just a bridge from dumb devices that don't have an API like Ring. Into the smart, cool stuff that we like, then let us know, because I'm curious. And if you disagree with me or disagree with Gavin and TJ, let us know too. Feedback at HomeTech.fm.
Only let us know if you disagree with Seth, though.
Yeah,
that's probably what's going to happen.
Well, Gavin, how close are you to their headquarters in Canada? Maybe you can just go over there.
Ooh, it's Canadian.
Yeah, I mean that's where they're based at, North America. So they have one in North America and one in Europe. So you just have to go over there. And I don't understand Canadian addresses at all. This looks fake to me. So
it says L'Assomption.
It's like CP 3211 L'Assomption QC.
Oh, they're in Quebec. That's not part of Canada.
That's not part of Canada.
Well,
you need to go over there.
I take that back.
It's supposed to be nice up there.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Let's move on here. Nanoleaf has announced some new version of their smart lights called the Nanoleaf Line Squared. It works in a question mark.
It's got a super appealing name.
Yeah. And it works in similar fashion to the current offering, with the option, I guess this time, to make square angles. It's there in the name, squared. The previous version had a problem. It was kind of like these weird, they were like triangles or I don't know, pentagons or something. I don't know what they call it. But you had a problem trying to do right angles, 90-degree angles, and everything, and that's what these things are designed to do. So you can make squared things that light up on your wall. Modular lighting kit is currently available for pre-order from Nanoleaf for $99, which includes 4 of the bars, and there are some expansion packs available as well. So, TJ, I think you had a opinion on this. I mean, you got to say it. You can't just make the face on.
You can't see my face right now, but it looks not attractive at all, right? Like, this is what you would think of when you think of like somebody getting like cheap LED light strips, but they're super expensive. They've got like this big old like bulbous middle that just leaves, no light there. They're not attractive for the price. You think they'd be able to make them a little bit slimmer, but I guess, you have to sacrifice some aesthetics to make it easy to use or something, but I'm not a fan of them.
They come with 90-degree versions, 60-degree versions. I don't think they have enough versions out there. I'll pass. I need a 25-degree version at least. 45-degree.
45. Yeah, 45 seems pretty common.
Yeah.
It seems kind of limited. They don't have like I do like. I mean, I get what they're trying to do. Nanoleaf is not like a fixture. I mean, it's more like an on the wall artwork type thing that they're trying to do that you see in the background of like YouTubers or something. So I see what they're trying to do with it, but I don't know. Like, they should have a 360-degree option. You can just plug it in any way you want, but I guess it doesn't work that way.
Like, whenever I look at Nanoleaf stuff, I just think of it as like wall art, like just like you said, decoration in the background, not really functional lighting. Everyone seems to just, hey, that's my Nanoleaf, and I can only afford 3 squares. And that's the worst part about it, is that it's so expensive for so little, but you need so many for it to actually look good on your wall. It's something I never really got into.
Yeah, it's kind of like those little dot matrix things that they have that are, $100 for 3 of them or something. Like, they're super cool looking, but you need a whole lot of them to make it worth it.
Yeah.
But I feel like, with the other ones, the other products that Nanoleaf has, that they're relatively good looking. This one, for some reason, this one just misses the mark for me. I don't know why.
It doesn't look as expensive. I don't know. The other one doesn't look that expensive either, but this one doesn't look as...
Doesn't look as refined,
Refined, yeah.
Not as polished.
Maybe it's just the pictures.
It is a pretty crappy picture, to be honest.
Yeah. And they look like they're pixel LEDs, so you can actually change the colors of them, in the series. So the whole thing doesn't have to be the same color, which is kind of nice. So the expansion packs, since we talked about those are $70 for three additional lines. So you get 4 with the starter pack. You get 3 more for $70 something. All right, let's move on here. Nanoleaf, there you go. Got some more new product. This one, it seemed like everybody was interested in. But smart home company Aqara is bringing some connected fun for your pets. They've got a new $99 Aqara Smart Pet Feeder C1. I don't know what the C1's about, but it's on there. It can feed your cat or dog on a schedule remotely, using an app, using a voice command through Amazon, Google, Apple, and probably the Hoobs thing. Who knows? It's probably on there too, since it's a hub, right, guys? Anyway, you can also buy an additional upgrade the system with a Aqara motion sensor. And I guess if the cat gets close to the feeder, it can go off or something like that. You can do all sorts of fun stuff with this. It's got a microphone and speaker. So if you're trying to feed your cat and it doesn't want to eat, you can encourage it to eat remotely or something. You can talk to it. Not really sure, but anyway, it works with If This Then That as well, and is going to be upgraded to work with Matter. So, I mean, that means we all have to buy one. I don't even have a cat, and I'm going to have to buy one.
Use it for your kids.
I mean, it's Matter. We're all going to have to buy this stuff because it's just, clearly the way forward. If they say it's going to support Matter, that means it'll support Matter.
No, this looks like a relatively nice device. I mean, Aqara devices have always looked relatively decent aesthetically. Functionality, you basically need their hub to really make it work all the time, in my opinion. But I mean, this looks pretty nice. $100 is not that much, I feel like, for a connected pet feeder of some sort. I kind of wish I needed it, but we feed our cats, a combination of wet food and dry food, and I don't think you can leave wet food in here too long. So
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope.
probably
Nope. Nope.
smell it up pretty bad.
Yeah, that'd be choice. Gavin, you have a dog that's about the same size of a cat. Do you find this interesting?
My dog's not as big as a cat, but he also
Smaller.
he also eats wet food, so no, he wouldn't like this anyway. So and Acquire they come out with a lot of nice devices. Usually when it's a while though. When you first see it announced, it's a while before I can get my hands on one. I probably wouldn't get one of these though. I don't have a cat, don't have a dog, don't have kids, so I have no one really to use this.
Hey, this is already out in Freedom Land, and
Is it?
if you order it on Amazon, you get $10 off coupon right now. So
$89. Yeah,
it's not bad.
not bad. So
Building speakers nice. You can yell at your pet while you're away. Like get away. It's not time for food yet.
not times. Stop begging.
Leave me alone.
I'm surprised
I'm at work.
how fast your pets start ignoring that little speaker though. Like
Oh,
I used
yeah.
to talk to my dog through it, and then after a while, he realized he really isn't here. I can do whatever I want.
Well, and it's funny too how like different animals respond, right? Like we have a 16-year-old cat, and she will completely ignore the TV. She'll ignore video calls and all that stuff. We have a 3-year-old cat, and she will watch TV forever. She is super interested in video calls and what's going on. So it's kind of like humans, It's kind of weird how it works out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know we never, like, all of the examples in this article is like you can coax your cat over by talking to it through this Acquire pet feeder. Like I never had a problem. I mean, I know there are pets out there that are kind of picky, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like humans, right? So they kind of pick up their own thoughts and processes and things, and some of them don't like to eat. But our cat we had one of these like automatic feeder things, and it was basically for portion control, because she would just, if you put food down, she would just eat it all.
Eat it
She would
till
just-
it's done.
She would eat. We left on a trip one. We're like, we'll just leave her like 3 bowls of food, and like we forgot something. We went down the street. We came back, and one of the bowls was gone, and we were just horrified because like she was the at that point, it's like they didn't have this is pre robot litter box, TJ. So we were expecting a big showing, and we were going out of town. So there you go. Anyway, I know you're interested in the robot litter box as well. So.
Maybe Aquara will release one, Be able to afford it then.
Or Wise, because bringing you guys into our next story here. The budget smart home company Wise has announced a pair of mesh Wi-Fi routers. The mesh router and the Wise Mesh Router Pro. They could have called these Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi would have been the perfect one. Missed the boat.
The Pro version is a tri-band Wi-Fi 6E model. It supports faster speeds. And the other, the plain one, who's going to get that, is a dual band Wi-Fi 6 router. It's good enough. Nothing really has Wi-Fi 6E on it anyway, so just get the Wi-Fi 6 one. With a starting price of $173.99, plus shipping for the single base station, and it goes to $273.99 for a 2-pack. The Wise Mesh Router Pro looks to be among one of the more affordable 6E compatible mesh routers in the market. It's got a lower price than the recently announced Nest Wi-Fi Pro, which starts at $199, and Eros Pro 6E, which starts at $299. So, not sure what their cat litter box would be at, but it's going to be cheap. So the Mesh Pro router is $93.99. So $94 for the single router, $173 for a 2-pack. So I'd say that's probably all you need, because it's Wi-Fi 6. Like if you wanted a Wi-Fi 6 router, do that one.
And honestly, it's not a bad price. I don't know if I would be rushing out to buy Wi-Fi from them. But I could see if you're already buying, a thermostat and a door lock and light switches and everything else, why not just throw a couple Wi-Fi routers on there? And it's appealing because it comes in black as well, which is not that big a deal in the long run. But so many devices come in white now, and it's hard to fit white in with a lot of places. So having black where it kind of blends in a little better might be handy.
Yeah, your neighbors will be impressed.
That's right.
It's the Pro model.
You got the black Wi-Fi model.
And I think at that price point, it's going to become a no-brainer to a lot of people, actually, because there's also that brand recognition. Everyone knows that little Wise camera, so they see Wi-Fi, and they might, just buy it because, hey, this is cheap. I like their little cameras, they must be good, and they'll go from there. I personally, when it comes to your home network, because of so many things that can go wrong if someone gets into it, invest in something secure. Worry about, like I wouldn't probably invest in something like this, but I see a lot of people jumping on it.
Yep. It's a good time to upgrade routers because you get the faster speeds and everything. Not that you need them, but like most of the time we're approaching like that gigabit speed limit on the here in America, at least. I know in Canada it's like 8 gigabits. So, but here in America, like we can get faster speeds from our cellular signal by walking outside than we can in our own house. So if you want a wireless wireless network that's fast, this is a pretty good way to get it. It can get you close, but not quite to a gigabit per second. So especially 6E might, but you got to be pretty close to the device to get those speeds anyway. So I can't wait for the Roku Pro router though.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good addition.
Probably see.
It'll only come in purple though.
Yeah, it'd be in purple. All right, we're moving on here. A lot of attention has been covered in the last 3 years talking about this Matter launch here, but there's a feature that's coming with Matter 1.0 that seems to have gone under the radar for most people, and that's called Matter casting. And there's a nice little article here we'll put in the show notes that kind of reviews some of the features that go along with this. It sounds just like Chromecast, where you're not streaming like with HomeKit. You're down or HomeKit. Oh my gosh. With AirPlay, you're downloading directly to the phone or device that you're using and then streaming that video. It's just like relaying that video signals directly back out. So it's kind of like double the bandwidth. With casting, what it's doing is it's basically sending a link over to whatever the TV or device or whatever that needs to play, and it just starts playing it itself. And your phone can sit there and control it, but that's all it's doing. So Matter casting is being built into these a bunch of TV brands with Matter, and they have pretty big plans to break up the fragmented device screen video streaming category. So it kind of sounds nice if this comes to fruition and it's part of Matter and part of what's being built into smart TVs these days, or maybe in the future here, the near future. We might have a better time streaming, videos and services back over to our Matter enabled TVs. This actually sounds like a win in the Matter column that is definitely underreported.
Totally agree. And when I first saw this article, I read it and, I liked what I was reading because, there's certain things people focus on when it comes to Matter. But like you said, this was one of those features that nobody really talked about. Like I never heard of, I never expected. And it's good to see what they were coming up with here, easily sending video, Matter casting, video, audio, whatever, to like your speakers, to your TV, and hopefully that will, following along with Matter, work with many devices. We no longer have to worry about, do you have an Android? Do you have an iPhone? Is it going to be able to send to here, send to there? This looks good. I'm excited to see this. This is one of the wins for Matter for me.
Kind of getting towards the bottom of the article here that I kind of skimmed over. But it actually there's an explanation. There's two different modes for casting the video. And one is where you're communicating with an app running on the TV, like I talked about. And the other is where you're sending the bits to the TV. And so AirPlay is that latter one. I guess this one looks like it'll do both. So win-win, I think. Like this sounds pretty good.
So I guess that doesn't mean that you need Matter built into a device to do it then. You could do it with just the app if the app supports it. But if you had a device with Matter, you could also do it as well.
I think you need the Matter endpoint on the TV to connect to.
That makes sense.
And then you're right. You're also going to need like these app companies, big media companies, right? You're going to need Disney, Hulu.
So like Netflix is going to have to support Matter casting now. But if you had it built, like if HTC came out with a new Android phone that had Matter built into it, you could do it with that as well.
Yep. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I hope this kind of takes up. It would be nice to have, because it said that TCL was the only one showing at the Matter launch event, but LG and Samsung have promised to add it in. So it would be nice once there's a lot of these TVs out there that support Matter and it's available as an endpoint, to see that kind of like being built into some of the streaming services where you can cast it just kind of makes it one way, where like you go to the YouTube app and it wants you to use their casting thing. I have to launch the YouTube app on my Apple TV and then cast the video over to it. But everything else uses AirPlay. It's kind of weird the way it works. So it would be nice to have like just a uniform way to get this done. It's a popular feature.
Yeah, it'd be cool eventually if they expanded it to do some kind of like a distributed video service as well. So kind of like where, AirPlay, where you can group multiple speakers together. What if you could group multiple TVs together and show the same video?
Yeah, that will save sports bars, right?
That would be sweet.
The impending NFL streaming announcement, but Sunday ticket streaming announcement. But yeah, I don't know. I actually heard a little update on that. I don't know if it's true, but I heard that DirecTV was still trying to manage the commercial accounts.
Oh, I bet.
So they could still sell the commercial accounts, the NFL Sunday ticket, to the bars and everything, because all that infrastructure is there, and it would be a major upset if I mean, it's going to be messy either way, but it'd be a major upset if they have to change all that out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. All right, let's move on here. We kind of we talked about layoffs at Twitter, but they aren't the only ones that are getting the layoffs in big tech right now. So Amazon is talking about cutting back at their offices, and the Echo business has always looked like Amazon has been playing the long game from the outside. And above all, the company's home consumer hardware is convenient for getting Alexa into millions of homes. But that comes at a cost, and the cost apparently is an operating budget of $5 billion a year in revenue loss. I mean, wow. I knew they were losing money on these things, but losing $5 billion to get an Echo device into your house a year is just incredible. So Wall Street Journal reported on this, noted that Amazon Devices Group could be the latest to get hit with cuts inside as the company braces for a bunch of layoffs. The paper notes that, quote, Amazon's leadership is closely evaluating its Alexa business, according to some of the people, citing internal documents. So it was evidently sourced pretty well, and $5 billion. I know there's a ton of people in the Alexa area, the Echo area. It spans both hardware and software. I just can't believe it's costing them $5 billion at a year at a loss to do this. It's just insane. Like, why would they keep it? Dump off the, wow, just incredible.
Yeah, I think a lot of people seem to forget that Amazon Alexa was basically founded so you'd buy more stuff on Amazon, right? Like it was basically a virtual assistant to help you order things. They did a lot of early iterations with that, kind of with like the barcode scanners and all that kind of good stuff. But its main purpose was to get you to buy more stuff through Amazon.
It's a kitchen timer. No one uses it that way.
Well, right. And that's at the end of the day. But like now they've turned it into a home automation platform that takes way more skill, way more knowledge to run. And it's way off track from what it initially was. So I'm not surprised at all to see them losing money, especially when the service doesn't cost anything, right? You buy an Alexa device for presumably how much it costs to actually make it, or less than what it actually costs to make it. And you use it for several years to do what? To set kitchen timers and to ask Google questions? Like, they're not making any money on it on the long term. So it relies on them selling a ton of devices or selling your information.
Yep. Gavin, I know Alexa takes a lot of your information and passes it on. What do you think about this?
You know what? I think they have too many sales, probably. That's probably the downfall right there. Like, every week these things go on sale. Like, I don't know if I ever bought one at the regular price. If I ever needed one, I'll just wait for the next sale, which is usually the next week or two, right? But I always found their devices were so cheap. Like, I always wondered how, they made money off of it. And then I always assumed it was our information, but I guess they're not making enough money off the information or something. So it's also sad too, because I felt like in the last year or two, they've been making huge steps with the whole Amazon ecosystem. Like, they've been introducing a lot of new features, doing a lot of new things, and now they're going to cut back, and it's probably going to slow production or slow it down from moving forward, which I'm not looking forward to.
No. This last Amazon launch event, there wasn't really there was that one device that they had that was kind of a weird one. It was was like a sleep aid thing where they would charge you $3 a month or whatever to watch you sleep through. Well, they weren't watching you. It was just kind of like sensors or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, there really wasn't, like, everything else was just like an incremental bump. There was no wall clocks or microwaves with Alexa built in. Like, there wasn't any weird products like in wacky products that they've traditionally come out with in the past.
Yeah, when I say they were making a lot of ground, it was more in the software side of it with the automation, the routines, the adding the features to that. They've been that was like not moving forward for a long time, and then they started all of a sudden like gaining momentum with that and adding all these new little features and the automations and the routines. And I thought like they were making some great progress there, so I hope they don't slow that down.
I don't think, to me, I don't think that would stop. Just kind of knowing who the CEO is and what his background is, because it's not what's his name anymore. It's not Jeff Bezos. It's Jassy now, right? And he was over AWS for years, so he's a big software automation guy. So I can't imagine that he's gonna take his foot off the pedal there. But I think what's going to be interesting is maybe there's going to be a few less of those Echo devices that are out there, right? There'll be less types or something. I don't know. There seems like there's a lot of versions of the Amazon Echo that probably don't need it. Like, well, Apple can seem to get away with one. They get away with one, and it's and they have the one that the HomePod, the official one, not the mini one. I don't know. Like, they don't have ones with screens, but they use their phones for that. So I guess, I don't know, 6 one way, half a dozen the other. But it still seems like there's a lot of models of Echoes out there that could probably just be trimmed down.
Well, it'd probably help too if you just didn't give them away with like every pack of underwear and toothbrush that you sold. It's crazy what you can buy during the holidays and get a free Amazon Echo. And I've been in the situation before. I use Google at my house. And I've been in a situation before where it's like, well, I really need to buy, a new Google speaker for my office or whatever, but I'll wait several months for it because I know I'll get it for free or extremely cheap. And it's not one of those devices that I absolutely need, right? Like, it's not mission critical to anything I do. It's nice to have in a room. It's nice to be able to play music and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, if they were to all stop working, I wouldn't have to replace them with anything. They're not that crazy important to me, and I feel like that's how a lot of people think about them. We've read articles on the show before where they were having trouble with engagement and people dropping Amazon Alexa after like a week or two, and that's crazy for any kind of product. But we've known that Amazon Alexa at the end of the day isn't that big of a seller for Amazon,
right? It says here in the article that even in the last year, Alexa interactions have increased more than 30%. So,
ooh.
But I have to wonder if that's just people not telling it to like shut up and don't tell me about this ad, or like, I don't care what I didn't care what Like, I wonder if that's what the interaction.
Probably like my Google one where it tells you, by the way, you can turn off lights with just your voice. Like, thank you. That's what I just did. I already knew that.
That neural networking, that AI we're kicking in. So, well, ending here on another down note, I guess, for our news. We're gonna have to play the official taps in the background here, but Meta, which is Facebook, has stopped the development of its Portal smart display.
Dun, dun, dun.
Following the decision to lay off 11,000 employees last week. The news was shared by the company's chief technology officer, Andrew Bosworth, which I've always heard him Andy Bosworth, whatever. Anyway, as part of a town hall meeting for Meta workers previously working on the project, and according to Reuters, he also elaborated on the decision to kill off future development rather than pivot to targeting enterprise customers. So it goes on to say that they were planning on using the portal in the enterprise rather than the consumer world because they haven't really done anything but end up in people's like closets or under their desk or something like that because nobody wanted to use these things. And then, it turns out that he says it would take too much time, too much investment to get in the enterprise segment. And it felt the wrong way to invest your time and money. And instead, they want to get you into that metaverse and make you a cartoon in your board meeting. It's a good call, Mark. Good call, Mark.
If meetings couldn't get any worse, they will be now.
Exactly. Man, a sad day. I'd never gotten my portal. Have either one of you seen a portal in the wild, like at somebody's house?
I've seen one.
Were they using it, or is it just like unplugged under the desk, which is what I've seen?
I think they used it with like their elderly grandparents or parents or
So
something.
that means there's two out there then.
at least.
Wow.
I assume, and there's three because I assume that Mark Zuckerberg has one in his house because I've seen that video.
Wrong. That was only for the video.
Yeah. He throws on a headset.
It said the information did some digging, and they found out that Portal appeared to have only captured around 1% of the smart display market. So, whatever that means, like what I don't know what they were pulling from that. I have to go and look at the information article, but it's interesting. There's also no indication on when the existing devices, like the Go, the TV, the 10, and the Plus will officially be phased out or unavailable to buy, because they're still selling them. You can still go buy them and give them to people so they put them in their closet, in the back of their closet, because that's where they end up. But they don't know how long that they're going to keep the servers running for existing customers. So will be interesting. All right. All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/412. Nothing in the mailbag, of course, this week, but we do have a big pick of the week. It's actually the tiny pick of the week. This is kind of cool. It's up for pre-order, $49. So it is kind of expensive if you go on the price per inch model of looking at TVs, but $49 through a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign. It's the Tiny TV 2. It's pretty much a portable media player with a 1-inch display, 8 gigabytes of storage, and a little battery. So you can watch like TV on a tiny little TV that looks adorable. And it's got little knobs on it that you can use to adjust and change the volume or the channels.
The best part is this remote. I mean, look here.
It's
look
a
at this
tiny
little adorable
remote.
little remote. It's got a mute button, a power button, channel up and down, and volume up and down. I was not really interested. I thought this whole product was, it's great. It's kind of like that keyboard display thing we showed last week. It's really cool. I have no reason for it. I was sold though as soon as I got to this remote. So I'm, seriously considering spending $80 on this, but I probably won't in the long run.
It has been funded, so it looks like they have reached their $200,000 goal. No, wait. They've raised $215,000. They only had a $15,000 goal, so it seems like there's a lot of market out there for a tiny TV. And I really enjoyed on there the little, like, when you change the channel, it has like the little static that pops up and like the little like a adjustment that the video has to like make to sync back up and but in between channels. There was also, I believe, on there, if you look kind of close in those videos, it has like the little interlace lines on it as well. So not only is it a 1-inch TV, it's a 1-inch TV with a bad picture, which, if you have any nostalgia for these old TVs, that's exactly what they look like.
And bad audio too. So, it's just perfect.
Well, and actually, if you go to their website, you can go ahead and just order it right now for $75. Supposedly they have 8 in stock.
Oh, really?
It comes with a remote. It's a DIY kit, so you got to build it yourself, I guess. But
no, thank you.
And this company is really cool. The company is called Tiny Circuits, and they make a bunch of different tiny objects. They make a tiny little arcade. They make a tiny saber. They make a tiny piano. I mean, so if you're looking for tiny electronics, they're probably the place to get it from.
I really like that little tiny remote. And it comes with the TV, so I wonder what our price per button. We're going to have to put that on there.
Well, so technically, if you look at the Kickstarter, you can break it down to about $25 for the remote.
$25 for the remote. Okay.
So it's very expensive remote in the grand scheme of things. Because I think the pre-order is about $49, and then for $75, you can get the TV and the remote.
I see. Interesting. So what if...
A tiny lightsaber? I mean, who doesn't want a tiny lightsaber?
Baby Yoda.
He doesn't want one?
I mean, he would need one.
Oh, he will.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. He's looking for it.
That's where it went.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fun. There's all sorts of stuff on here.
A little time.
Yeah, you might want to buy more than one remote too, because you know you're gonna lose one. I'm just saying.
You have to print a case with an air tag in it.
Yeah, the case is gonna be.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah, I'll have to keep this in mind. That's fun. I don't think I want the DIY put it together kit one, because that just seems like it's prone to error at that size.
It's like 3 parts to it. I don't think it's gonna be that difficult.
Oh, South will never get it done. He'll start it.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, but that's
Just like
third part.
just like the
will
range
just-
hood and
the lawnmower.
lawnmower vac.
All right. Well, that's kind of cool. I do like it though. It's $80.
Well, and while you're ordering it, go ahead and order the tiny violin. You can actually play a couple pre-recorded tunes on there. You can order the tiny piano as well. They're only $10 each. Why not just get a smorgasbord full of tiny electronics?
That is the world's tiniest violin.
Smaller than the one from SpongeBob.
Too good. Well, we'll put the links to all this fun stuff in the show notes as well. So if you have any ideas, feedback, question, comments, picks of the week, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. So project updates this week. I didn't get anything done because thought I was going to win the Powerball, but Gavin was busy. Gavin was watching the YouTube videos on the state of the open home, and he's got a little update for us. What'd you think, man? Was it good?
Oh, it was great. Home Assistant team, they've been holding this like every year, and they talk about things they've done and things they're doing. And, they covered a lot of the things they brought out this year, which was before I got into Home Assistant. So it wasn't like that was new to me. I was like, that's what I know Home Assistant as. But two things I took away from this that they're working on. They have a new user interface designer, and they're redesigning the interface to the I don't want to call them dashboards, but I guess the control interfaces. And they have a demo of it, a little website. You can actually click on it and play with it and stuff like that. And it looks really nice, a big improvement to the stock one. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the other thing they announced is that they're going to be focusing on voice control. This to me was big because they actually brought in the guy that worked on a project called Raspy. He designs his own local voice control, I guess on Raspberry Pis or something like that. And they actually hired him and brought him in as part of the team. And he's going to be working on integrating this with Home Assistant and in the next year. And they haven't worked out all the plans yet. So I'm pretty sure we'll start hearing more about it in the new year. But this is exciting because you're going to have local voice control that you can also edit and modify. Like you can add your own commands and, add your own logic and how it answers you and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to see what they come with this, especially, like in a market where everybody's collecting your data. All these voice assistants are collecting your data, having something local that's not. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. No, that does sound pretty good. There's also a couple of other teams there. The ESP Home people were there talking about their new efforts, and it's kind of just like that's more of a developer centric thing from what I remember. But it makes it easier, I guess. The onboarding and making your own little IoT type device.
Yeah, they had a bunch of presentations there. They were all good. I just focused on the two that stood out. But if you're gonna watch the video, it's a long video. It's like 2.5 hours. If you're gonna watch it for the musical guest. Like that's all I have to say. Spend the 10 minutes and just skip to that part and watch that. And
don't listen to Gavin. Watch the rest of it. Right. I can't recommend. I can't. I would not let this stand, sir. So I'm not sure what that they were. Okay, they teach their own.
Yes,
everybody is just like cats. We have our own things we like. So, State of Gavin's Home is the next presentation we have, and it seems like last week we talked a little bit about I think you had only been messing around with the Home Assistant stuff for like a couple of hours or something before the show.
Yeah,
but it seems like you really kind of got into it over the last week and really like dove headfirst into this thing.
Yeah, I kind of it kind of took off and I kind of went overboard with it, but At this point in time, my system is all migrated over to Home Assistant. I'm 100%. Well, I'm like 95% Home Assistant because all my Zigbee and Z-Wave devices are still on my Habitat hub. But that's all they're doing is they're just sitting there and they're passed through to Home Assistant. But Home Assistant's doing everything now. It's running my home. I see the hype. I see what this is all about. It's great. I have to admit. I'll just list off some of the things I really like. Push notifications. I showed you guys how I have image previews of my cameras. Not only that, you hold on the preview and it brings up the live view of my camera in the notification. On top of that, they're actionable notifications. I can add buttons to it so that you can, click on a button to snooze them. I can click on a button to like do whatever I want, launch them in the app. It's amazing how you have that. Everything's integrated. HomeKit or HomeBridge, MQTT, they're all just add-ons that are added on. I no longer need to run a separate Docker for it. It's all just built in. I really like that. It simplifies my setup. I actually shut down a number of my Dockers because I no longer needed them anymore, which is amazing, right? I also canceled a few other services I was paying for to do certain things because I don't need them anymore. Home Assistant was doing everything. It's amazing how it does it. The app itself is really good. The GPS built in works really well. I've been testing that. Everything I wanted to do in it has, every time I think of something, somebody out there has either already done it or created an integration or a document on how to. I was amazed that, like in other platforms, I would almost have to start from scratch and design it myself. In this platform, it's like, no, here's a blueprint or here's an integration. We've already done this. I love that. It cut down on my time, right? And their documentation, who reads documentation except me these days? But I went through their documentation. I read all their documentation, really good documentation. It helped me get familiar with everything. If you haven't read their documentation, it's worth the read to get yourself more familiar. That's all I have to say, it's worth it. Right. I haven't really found anything I don't like about it. I can't find it. I've migrated. It's doing everything. It works fast.
Gavin has officially drunk the Kool-Aid. It's happened. He's now a home. What do they call HAS? Home HASS is what it is. What
a hassle, I think.
For? A hassle. There we go.
Hassle.
He's gonna be on Reddit bashing people like you're stupid.
Oh no!
Just gonna change his attitude.
I don't have time for that. I'm too busy migrating stuff. Right?
It's amazing how much stuff just works out of the box now with Home Assistant. Before it was a lot of configuration. Yes. You had to go into YAML and edit text documents and all that good stuff. And I've only touched YAML one time, and that was to make like custom themes work, which was not necessary at all. But other than that, like everything has just worked out of the box. I've just downloaded a plugin or something, and it just works. It's magic.
Their automation system's great. Their helpers are great. Their grouping of stuff is great. Like it's just everything just works great. Their interface is great. I still mess around with some YAML, but don't be afraid of the YAML because sometimes like when you want to do a large number of things on like their interface, like add a bunch of buttons, I jump into the YAML and I just copy and paste. Right, the same thing over and over, and I can have 5 buttons up there, and all I have to do is change the entity on it, and it's a quick way of doing things. So you find quick ways of doing things with YAML. So it's actually it's a blessing that it's still there. My next steps, I want to work on my first integration, my FOSCAM floodlights. There's no integration for it where I can control them, so I'm kind of reading developer documentation and stuff. I set up my developer environment, but I'm a little like intimidated. I haven't played with Python in a while, so I kind of got to figure that out. But that's my next project.
Yeah, I'm making fun of their Reddit, but I guess if you did have problems with the YAML and figuring out the buttons and stuff, you could go post over there. And since you're, talking about Home Assistant, they'd probably be pretty helpful, in getting whatever you had resolved. And from what I remember seeing, it's there's now an inbuilt YAML editor, like when you're going to add those buttons in, and it has
yes.
error correction on it. So if you're starting to mess up, it turns red and it's like, hey, this is wrong on this line right here. So it's kind of nice.
It is nice because when you're using the user interface for you're configuring a card, for example, right? they'll have some of the features on that card in the user interface. But if you look at their documentation for that card, you'll see that there's all these other features, right, that you can only add via the YAML. So on the interface, you actually click the YAML mode, and then you can edit it right in there and add those extra features. And yeah, it auto resolves the entity names, which is really nice because it makes it really great. And same with error correction. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that's like, don't be scared of that. Like you guys were saying, that's kind of a more advanced thing that you would get into if you wanted to do something special. But it sounds like they have picked off all the low hanging fruit that exists out there, and kind of like put the main settings in kind of the web app or whatever, so you can configure it. So that is nice. That is nice.
Yeah, and the annoyances, the things that would annoy me at their State of the Open Home, they actually brought them up. People were asking, so it wasn't just me. It was other people that were, like, when are you going to do this? And they actually said, no, we're working on it. We expect it to be soon. So they're addressing it, and those were just minor things for the interface. So, it's good to see that they're constantly evolving, and I'm impressed.
I did see the new interface. Someone, I think the designer you're talking about, posted their Figma file on Twitter or something, and I kind of clicked through and was playing around with it. It's nice and clean. It looks it looks better in my opinion. It kind of looks like Google inspired design. I guess they kind of started from that direction with the UI that they originally used. It was kind of like
Material.
Yeah. They started with that and kind of like moved around, but yeah, it definitely looked good. It looked modern. Look like, I'd say it looked like everybody else's, but that's fine. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like Control 4
part of
anything like that.
I think part of it though was that it auto-generated too, right? Like that's what they were focusing on, was when you added your devices and your entities and you assigned them to a room, it would auto-generate that room, and make it look nice automatically, which is, I could see that's one of the pain points as I'm going through designing some of my rooms. But the power in the Home Assistant is I can make it auto add entities and stuff and auto format it just by adding like extra YAML code and stuff like that. So I kind of have some of that power today to generate my rooms automatically, and I'm still messing with the interface. But for the basics right now, I have it auto add entities to the rooms, and I can access them through my dashboards easily.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm the lone holdout, I guess. I don't know. I'll get there one day.
You'll need some time. It took me a week to get everything.
That's all right. Skip over Home Assistant. Just get the Hoobs Pro Hub.
It's not a hub.
Bridge.
Hoobs Pro Bridge.
Bridge Pro Hub thing.
It's a hub that acts like a bridge.
Bridge Hub controller. How about that?
Trying to find another device on my desk to make a sound effect with. That's not
That's how we know the DIY space is really encroaching on the professional spaces. When they stopped calling them hubs, they started calling them controllers.
Controllers, yeah. That's true.
Ooh, that's how you know we've made it. It's worth $800 for a hub then.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm not sure we talked about it on the show last week, or we talked about it maybe offline, but like the interesting thing is now that you have Home Assistant kind of open source, whatever Hoobs is doing, half of it's open source. It's kind of the same thing, but like all these companies are now making these hubs essentially to kind of live with that software inside of them. So the one you guys pre-ordered, I think TJ, you may have pre-ordered that one.
You're thinking of the Claude
Pie,
Pie or the
yellow,
Canary Yellow or whatever.
Right,
yeah.
right. Canary, that's another example, but that's kind of made by kind of the Home Assistant people, I guess. But kind of along the same lines, like we're seeing these different companies that aren't necessarily the software companies making a hub that runs this software, open source software on it for as like a I don't know, like a design element. Like they can be opinionated on what the box has on it, like what network features it supports, what antennas and Wi-Fi radios gets built in. And, if you like that, then you just buy it. And if there's a better one that comes out that has a different radio later on, you buy that one. It's kind of interesting to see that, it kind of feels like a maturization of the open source market or the DIY market, where you have that option of getting into these more advanced controllers and hubs and everything, and being able to like upgrade the device over time. Because like we look back at the Wink or something like that, like the company goes out of business. Is that right? Wink? Yeah. They go out of business and the hubs are just like garbage. Like you can't use them for anything. But if Home Assistant, if you buy the Claude Pi and that company goes out of business in a year or two, you just buy whatever and you want to upgrade to better antennas or some other feature that it didn't have, or it goes bad. Like you're not stuck. You're not stuck running on a dead platform. So that's kind of cool.
And I find a lot of these hubs I'm seeing coming out now, they also don't have Z-Wave, which is very interesting because, you know, I think we had this discussion with somebody in the hub recently where, you know, they said Z-Wave's dead and they pointed this out. And I agree. I'm starting to see that, you know, less and less hubs coming with Z-Wave. They include Zigbee. They, of course, talk about adding Matter, Thread, Bluetooth, everything except Z-Wave. And I wonder why that is. Is it too expensive?
Because it's too expensive. I mean, honestly, like if you look at every Z-Wave device compared to either Zigbee or Wi-Fi, Z-Wave devices you're going to pay 2 or 3 times as much for. And it's because the chip is so expensive. It's an expensive product. It doesn't matter what it is. So I've been calling the death of Z-Wave for several months now. I think we're still a little bit off from it, but it doesn't, when you have these companies not releasing Z-Wave as part of their hubs anymore, it kind of makes you wonder how long it is actually going to be around.
Yeah. It was a single vendor, right? Silicon Labs or whatever. I think they have recently, within the last year or so, opened it up and said, more
They're
than
trying to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the writing was on the wall, right? Like there were so
they
many.
have to.
Yeah. So many Zigbee devices out there that were, I mean, somebody posted, I think way back, we had like a thing and there was like millions of Zigbee devices per month. And we're like, where's all this going? And I think Robert Spivak was like, Comcast remotes and like cable box remotes all use Zigbee. And it's like, well, if you want to get your chip costs down, put them in every single Comcast box remote out there and you're good to go.
Yeah. And especially, that one Matter chip that, had Matter, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, AC and all that good stuff for like $6. And, a Z-Wave chip is probably going to cost you $10 to $15 unless you're buying millions of them at a time. So that adds up very quickly for a lot of consumer devices. And, unless you know the technical specifications of everything, nobody's going to buy a Z-Wave device for more money.
Yeah.
They're just not.
Well, it will be interesting to see how long they hang on. I don't know. I think it's still got some legs to it. And people, they could go upstream, right? They could just start supporting more and more expensive devices and land somewhere in that pro/prosumer market that the Cydia folks are playing in and sell stuff there. So I will say that my office's experience with Z-Wave is not going well right now because they have a Ring alarm that when the devices go offline, they just report that a zone is open. And so to arm the system, you have to go around and like open and close every single door in the office that's got a contact on it, which is quite a few. And then they'll come back online, then they'll report in and connect. But then like you go and arm the system, and doing that over and over again is not fun. I know that. So the problem with Ring is there's no debug tools. Turns out, and their tech support can't help you either. So yeah, great job there, Ring. I like that alarm, but man, it's like halfway there, just halfway there. All right. Well, we do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon lottery page. Wait, who put that there? If you don't know about our Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat to the hub, where you can interact with Elon Musk, Tim Cook, Donald Trump. They're famous people in the hub. That's all we're saying. If you want to help out the show, but can't afford to help out the show financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's all the news and fun for this week. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Take care.
Oh my God, he said it. He said it. I'm gonna keep that one. Take care. every month. Take care. I'm just gonna have it.
Wow.
Is that how he
He
sounds?
wasn't even trying. He was
That's
like,
why I
he was
never
like-
even do it.
he was like, take care. Just off mic. Like, I'm not even gonna try.
Piss off. Should have stopped listening to me a long time ago.
Just gonna put it on a soundboard here. It's that Ohio guy.
The armpit of the north.
Getting when he says "paw," and getting when he says "take care."
See you later, alligator.
See you later, alligator.
Gonna really lose your shit when I say roof and crick.
Turlet.